I'm not gonna lie, I think NT is probably gonna be dead on arrival. Pokey did nothing wrong. The ZZZ community is kind of the most chill of the big four.
Choose your words.
YouTube, welcome. Thanks for coming in. We're gonna react to Mr. AmethystAbrams, the dying and divided state of gacha gaming.
Regarding the gacha space as a whole, and that is the fact that I personally believe that the gacha space is divided and isn't as interconnected as it used to be. Now,
by the way, thanks for the follows, y'all. I really appreciate everyone coming in and following.
I know other people within the gacha space that feel the same way, other people that are within the gacha community, and other content creators that are also within the gacha space feel very similarly, have expressed their thoughts and feelings about this. I am now going to give my thoughts and feelings as to why I believe this is the case. So if you enjoy what I have to say and enjoy this video, hit that like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, do I believe the gacha space is divided? Yes. Do I believe it's as interconnected as it used to be? No. And these are the reasons as to why I believe that is. Number one. Now this is going to be one.
It's also very hard for me to keep my focus with this beautiful man on screen. Not gay, but bro is hella jacked and good looking. So yeah, shout outs to Amethyst though. Mad workout skills. I need to get in the gym myself.
That a lot of people disagree with me with, but I believe this is going to be one of the main reasons why this is the case. We all know Tectone. We all know who Tectone is.
We all love Tectone. Baltimore. Big Baldy. Huge fan of Tectone. Tectone was also someone that really inspired me to kind of start content creation. So yeah, shout outs to Tectone.
There was a point where Tectone was holding weekly gacha casts, or at least every other week. It was very regular. He was getting a lot of gacha content creators within every single community of different gacha games.
Yep.
Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, and Zone Zero, other gacha games as well. He would bring them onto his channel, bring them onto the gacha cast, and they would give constructive criticism and talk about what they love, what they don't love, what they want to improve about their games.
Not only that, but you know, those gacha casts were amazing for smaller creators. Honestly, if it wasn't for the gacha casts and just Tectone's reach in the space, I probably wouldn't even know about half the people. So shout out to the bald man. I don't want to glaze him too much because, you know, he loves to glaze himself as the dude that, you know, just helps smaller creators, but that is what he did, you know, has done and continues to do. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have, you know, met Cap, Saint, all these, you know, basically everyone that I know in the space is just through Tectone, because I started watching his channel when I started playing Honkai Star Rail back in 1.4. And yeah, it's kind of crazy how many people he's, you know, brought into the space and, you know, really helped their careers grow.
That hasn't happened in quite some time. Now, Tectone is doing his own thing. He's not only covering gacha anymore. I remember when he used to be called the Gacha Guy. Now some people still refer to him as the Gacha Guy, but he's doing multiple different things now, multiple different things outside of gacha, and he's doing really well for himself. I've been paying attention to his content, I've been paying attention to his fitness, I've been paying attention to what he's been doing. He's been crushing it. And though I'm just a little fish in a huge pond, it's good to see, because I've been a fan of Tectone for what, 5, maybe 6 years now. And I'm very grateful to him for what he's done, because he's actually been one of the people that inspired me to make content. And believe it or not, his content actually saved my life.
Oh, wow.
There's reasons to this. I'm not going to go into reasons to why his content saved my life.
I'd be curious to hear that story.
I have a dark past, and if it wasn't for content creators like Tectone, I might not be here today. But I digress. Also, there's been lots of drama this year alone within the gacha space. There's been the Tectone versus Mr. Pokey. Mr. Pokey was rage baiting the entire gacha community on Twitter for a long.
Pokey did nothing wrong. Yeah, no, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the space. That's for sure. Pokey, definitely towards the beginning of the year, there was a lot of rage baiting and a lot of him going after the fact, why is everyone so mad? You know, so, but hey, that kind of blew up in a bad way. It's unfortunate, but you know, that's just how gacha be, I guess. So
period of time. People were arguing, people were bickering, people were falling out with each other. Sentontas versus Mr. Pokey, Mr. Pokey versus Tectone.
Saint Tontas only has like 30 videos up of Mr. Pokey. What are you talking about?
Ryukyu Sensei versus God knows how many other people, because I remember there was a time where people were just bickering for no reason within the gacha space. I don't know the reasons why. I don't really care the reasons why. The point is, it got to a point where, in my opinion, it was becoming more about drama between gacha content creators than about the gacha games themselves. This is just my opinion. Now, people can disagree with this, but
Gacha CC PvP, some of the most entertaining, but you know, it does get very personal. And there's been some fallouts obviously with Pokey and Tectone and whatnot, but you know, it definitely was probably some of the most interesting the gacha space has ever been. I feel like whenever there's PvP and Tectone's involved, it's usually brings in a lot of views, and I don't know, it always had me entertained as a viewer. So
based on what I'm seeing from the outside looking in, that's one of the main reasons why I believe the gacha space feels more divided. There's been a lot more drama and a lot more tension between gacha content creators. Now, other content creators like Captain Cabinets has also been trying to put together gacha casts, and she's actually been trying her best to collab with a lot more CCs, which is
she's been doing great. Yeah, the most recent one with the story on 2.4, bringing in who all she have? She had Maddie, Life Lessons, Saint, Age. Am I forgetting somebody? Yeah, she's been doing a good job. Reminded me of this tweet. I knew I was gonna watch it, so I brought this clip up from Techies. This, funny enough, this was when Pokey was on, and you know, Captain Cabinets may be, you know, trying to be like the new Tectone, basically, which I think is a W personally.
You know, I will admit, Kate is doing a great job of trying to become the new me. I think she's probably emulating me the most out of any content creator, and I'm very proud of her. She stole my podcast, she stole my React format, she stole my retards, but that's okay.
Drake's Revenge, aware.
Also, you took Drake's Revenge. Yeah, I remember that. You know.
So yeah, you know, the last part, you know, it is what it is. I do still watch Techie, but yeah, you know, I will say I am in Cap's chat a lot. So, but you know, she's been great. She's been doing her thing, and it's been really great to see her bring people together. I feel like she's one of the most connected people in the space, and she's helping a lot of people out. So W Captain Cabinets, of course. We get some W Captain Cabinets in the chat, some hearts for her.
Really nice to see. She's a great person, great content creator. I can see her going far within the space. She's a good friend of mine, and I'm glad she's doing really well and trying to bring the gacha community together when Tectone at the moment isn't doing that. Now, that's not me throwing digs or shade at Tectone. He's just doing other things. You know, he can do whatever he wants. He's kind of outgrown the gacha. He still plays gacha games and talks about what he likes and dislikes about certain gacha games, but he's doing his own thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I love the guy, and I've spoken to the guy. He's great. Other content creators like Styx always regularly brings gacha communities together and gacha CCs together to talk about gacha games, all kinds of gacha games, not just the main ones like Woowa, Genshin Impact, HSR, ZZZ. He talks about multiple other gacha games, and it's great to see him bring other content creators. He's even brought me on his gacha cast before, on his podcast before, talking about gacha games. So there are content creators doing it, but there's just not people doing it that are as big and influential, unfortunately, as Tectone. Another reason why I believe the gacha space is divided and why I believe it's not as interconnected as it used to be. Gacha tribalism. It has become some of the most toxic it's ever been. Over the past year to year and a half, I would say.
I definitely agree with this. I think tribalism is at its worst, and for those that have known me for a while, I was pretty big, and I don't even want to say that, but I was known as being a bit of a shit stir in the Twitter space, in Tectone's Degens and the Gacha Police, right? But even that space got to be too tribalistic and too rage baity for me, so that's kind of why I stopped going there. It just seemed like we're just throwing shade at whatever, at the slightest nod just to try to get a reaction out of people. And, you know, I'm not going to say I've never been immune to throwing out, just your casual rage bait here and there, but there comes a point where it's just too much. So yeah, I think this year it's been really bad with how much popularity WUA has gotten. It's only gotten worse. Now, that's not to blame it on WUA or anything. I just think that if WUA had never, it basically always kept growing, right? And if it had stayed where it was, like in 1.0, 1.1, where it was still, kind of, I'm not going to say dead or anything, but, it's still a new gacha game. Not everyone was on it. Now it's become very popular. So you have all these people that left Genshin that are now, throwing shade at Hoyoverse any chance they get, because, Hoyoverse fans, a lot of them started saying, oh, Wuthering Waves is just copying Genshin, yada, yada. So the tribalism thing is definitely a huge problem, but unfortunately it's never going to go away. You just kind of have to ignore it, I think is the best thing to do. That's the best way to handle tribalism.
Say, gacha tribalism has become so incredibly toxic that you cannot give any constructive criticism to any game, because it causes arguments, it causes divide, it causes just drama for no reason.
Yes, but I think you just have to give it anyway. I think that's why you can't care what other people say. If you got something to say, don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't, be fair in your takes and make sure that your takes are sound, right? It is, for the most part, just an opinion, right? But people are going to hate you regardless. I've seen it recently in a few of the content creators I follow. Their videos, they're, like even Cap, her latest Wuthering Waves trailers that she reacted to, or the patch I think she did, got a lot of people upset with her because she wasn't like head over heels for the patch and didn't say it's the best thing ever. When people are reacting to a Honkai Star Rail trailer saying that it's good, if they're a WUA CC, oh, well, why are you reacting to this? This is my game. Stay out of my lane, my game. Go back to your Wuthering Waves, or, if you're a Genshin creator, go back to Genshin. It's like, just let people enjoy and critique the games how they want. And, if you don't like it, that's fine. You can voice that opinion, but to just gatekeep off of what game people's, tend to main or play more, it's just so stupid.
Wuthering Waves now, one of the most humbling gacha communities, has become very toxic as well. Now, when I say it's become toxic, I'm not referring to everyone, but there is an aspect of the Wuthering Waves community that is becoming very, very toxic, to the point where you cannot say a single thing bad about the game, because they will jump on the bandwagon and suck the game off to so much that if you say anything bad about the game, not even anything bad, something that they need to desperately improve on, they will come after you with pitchforks, spears, weaponry, torches. Now that sounds like to me how Genshin Impact used to be, and it sounds like to me how HSR's community grew to be. Now I love Honkai.
Yeah, toxic positivity ruins the space. I feel like you should always be critical of a game that you like, no matter what. Throughout almost my whole life, I've always been called a negative Nancy, because I always point to little things that can be improved upon, whether it's, a game, a piece of media like a movie or something, and people always be like, oh, you're so negative, you're so negative. It's like, not really saying anything that this thing sucks. I'm just saying that these things could be improved upon. And so many people, I feel like, want to live in a black and white world, and that's really baffling to me. It's like nuance is lost on people today. And it's really quite sad, because I think some of the best conversations and the way you get better quality products, games, whatnot, is to just talk about things to improve them. Not everything is a 10 out of 10 or dog shit. There's a lot of good in these patches and in these games, but there's a lot to improve. Like even the small things, like in the upcoming WUA patch, something I don't think anybody talked about, but like when they showed that now when you upgrade your echoes, you can just automatically choose to use the tuners to show the substats. That is a great quality of life change that, for me, I'm like, I don't know how many people would have said that in a survey, but they probably played the game themselves enough to be like, this is really annoying. Why don't we just have it where you can choose to use the tuners right away, or yeah, use the tuners right away to show the substats, so you don't go to a separate click, and it just saves a little bit of time. But that's all that matters. And something like that is small, but it adds up. And I think something like that is a great example of, if you were to say that, some people might say, oh, well, you're being nitpicky. Well, no, it's something that they could improve on.
Okay, Starro. I used to very much play that game all the time. I used to play Genshin Impact when the game came out. I play Wuthering Waves regularly. I want these gacha games to do very well. I really, really do. I still say to this day, I still want Genshin Impact to do really, really well. Will the game do well? Of course it will. It's one of the biggest gacha games of all time. It literally influenced most of the gacha games we play today. However,
I am not a Genshin Impact person, but I will say it amazes me how much reach that game still has. That most people that know about gacha, they equate it with Genshin still. Even if they're not in the space, if they're just like a casual, or you say, do you know what gacha games are? That they may say, I'm not really sure. But if you say, do you know Genshin Impact? They've probably heard of Genshin Impact. I mean, the game's reach is massive.
Do I believe the game is dog shit? Yes. Do I want it to improve? Yes. Do I think it will improve? No. The best thing to come out of what...
And that's my thoughts, and that's why I will not be playing Genshin Impact. The new characters, I just went over the trailer. A lot of those new characters, they look cool, but dealing with that stamina bar after playing Wuthering Waves, I'm sorry, I just don't see how you can do it. Maybe the story's good. I played it for a little bit. It was not that compelling to me personally. So, I will not be coming back. I'll be watching, to see how the game does, of course. But yeah, playing it myself, I'm good. And yeah, I don't think the game's going to get better, unfortunately. Their quality of life is giving you a skip button, but it's a time skip button, or, we have loadouts, but they're actually just recommended. And then you can save the recommended loadout, and that's their loadouts. They're not with the times. It's still day locked for farming materials. I mean, come on, what are we doing?
Of Genshin Impact within the past year was the recent animated short that was like 10 minutes long, talking about the gods of Teyvat. That's some of the best shit that I've ever seen happen within Genshin Impact for a long ass time. I've not wanted to delve anywhere near Genshin Impact and touch Genshin Impact since Arlecchino came out, and that was such a disappointing update. I wanted to throw up in my mouth because everything that we got in that patch we saw in the animated short about Arlecchino. I haven't played the game since I played the desert area, the desert part of Sumeru, when Sino came out. That's the last time I actually really I dove deep into the game of Genshin Impact. Now, I haven't played Fontaine.
That area was bad. When I played, I started with the Farina banner. That was the first time I gave the game a shot, and yeah, it was not the best experience. I did make it to Sumeru. I made it to the desert. I'd heard all the bad things, and I kind of just stopped after I looked and saw how big the desert was. I was like, no, I'm good.
Fontaine, but I heard Fontaine is the best Genshin Impact has ever been. I've heard people say some part of Natlan is good, but I've seen Natlan story. I've seen what the game has to offer within Natlan. It looks dog shit. Honkai Star Rail has become a snooze fest to the point where one of their biggest collabs of all time, one of Gacha's biggest collabs, which had some of the highest amount of potential I've ever seen, flopped. I'm talking about the Honkai Star Rail and Fate collab, by the way. I'm a huge Fate fan, but after seeing what I saw from Honkai Star Rail, I don't want to talk about that because it's shit. The collab was shit. It's boring, snooze fest, dog shit with a 30-second cutscene. That was very good, by the way, but dog shit.
Honkai Star Rail was the game that I loved. Like I said, that was my first gacha. I enjoyed the game. Even in Penacony, I was kind of blind to how... Well, I don't want to say I was blind to how bad the game was becoming. I knew it was becoming more bloated in the dialogue and whatnot, but I still had faith that they could turn it around. But with each patch, it kept getting worse and worse in terms of the bloat. And then the whole voice actors, the whole strike thing going on, that was bad for me because I was a big dub enjoyer. So trying to do the story with, voice actors missing and whatnot was really rough. I stopped at 2.6. The banana quest broke me. Up until then, I was enjoying the story, but 2.6, the banana stuff, that was kind of it. And that made me really sad because I'm a big Boot Hill fan. And so I was like, oh, okay, Boot Hill gets some more time to shine in the story. And it was like the worst story for me. So I've heard it's good again now with Amphoreus, especially in 3.4. I know the event was shit, but maybe I'll try to go back and play. My account was decent, but the game moves so fast in terms of power creep, which is a huge problem as well, that I'll be real, it's very hard. I have an account that used to zero cycle pretty regularly, and now I think the last time I tried to do MOC a couple months ago, I did 7 cycles. So I was still able to clear, but it was much, much worse. So yeah, we'll have to see. I might try to go back. I know they have a skip button now with a summary. Crazy how they have that and Genshin still doesn't. But yeah, HSR, sadly they fell off. And even if the Amphoria story is good, my thing is the events have been really shit. I miss how good some of the older events used to be, and now it's like we've just slowly gotten worse and worse and worse, kind of like Genshin. So, and I think events is one of those things that really separates how good a patch is. Even if it's not the best story-wise, if it has like a really fun event that you like doing, even if there's like, if an event is so good that you would do it with minimal rewards, like, saying no rewards is kind of disingenuous, right? Because a lot of people, if there's no rewards involved in a gacha, they're probably not going to do it. But even if it was just like, oh, here's some credits or whatever, just for playing each day after you reach, the maximum rewards that you can get, I think that's a sign of a good event. And HSR just has not had good events in a long time.
Wuthering Waves. Now, Wuthering Waves was a game that I don't think everyone expected to be as big as it was. That's what kickstarted my content creation career. And it got to the point where that community was so humble. You could say, they need to improve this. This is shit. This is bad. They need to really improve this. And people as a community agreed. And people as a community vocalized what they want from the game and what they think the developers should do to improve on the game. It's now got to the point where if you say anything constructive, any sort of constructive criticism or anything that people disagree with in the community, they'll come after you. I'm sorry, we don't hate the game. We want the game to be the best as possible. I play other gacha games as well. I play other gacha games within other gacha communities. I'm talking like, Dragon Ball Legends. I used to play Dragon Ball Legends. I played Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle now. I'm debating getting back into Dragon Ball Legends. But those
I haven't played any of these Dragon Ball games.
This day. Dokkan Battle's animations are better. Yeah, but Dragon Ball Legends is combat and gameplay is way better. So Dragon Ball Legends is a better game.
At least they're gacha games.
Dragon
I played
Ball
a couple of their
Dokkan
fighting
Battle.
games. But...
To be honest, Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle, their animations are unparalleled. It's getting to the point now where it looks like it's from some of the highest budget animators ever. When you play Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle and you activate a character's ultimate, it's got to the point now where it's so ultra HD, it looks like it's straight out of a movie.
Oh wow.
Dragon Ball Legends is getting to the point
I
now
might give those games a try.
Their combat, it's elevating. Their combat is getting better and better and better. They're introducing more mechanics. That's better. PvP.
I feel like he's selling me on the game right here.
And their ultra units are still a scam. They're really, really cool, but they're a scam. Their banners are a scam. There's not even a pity system in these games. It's based all on luck. And
that's like the old school gachas. Like, that's why I never tried Fate, even though I think I heard that Fate does have pity now, but I know for like the longest time it didn't, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm never playing that game. So yeah, no pity is wild in today's day and age.
The pity system they have isn't even a pity system.
Dokkan is an old school gacha,
money,
yeah.
You'll be able to get a free copy of the unit. Anyway, I digress. But the point I'm trying to make is gacha tribalism has been a part of the gacha communities for many, many years, but it's got to the point now where it's got so incredibly toxic you cannot say anything. If you put a foot out of line, if you put a toe out of line, they will come after you. In my opinion, that's what I believe.
They will.
And unfortunately, a lot of the gacha communities don't get on. The HSR community don't like the Wuthering Waves community. The Wuthering Waves community don't like the Genshin Impact community, and vice versa. The ZZZ community is kind of in its own thing at the moment, to be honest. ZZZ is actually doing pretty well. I actually am a big fan of that game. I don't play the game, but I keep up to date with it, and I've got a lot of friends within that community. And you know what? That's some of the most humble community I've seen currently.
The ZZZ community is kind of the most chill of the big four. They are just mostly gooners and just love mashing buttons, and I think that's pretty good. But there has been a little bit more drama lately. I will say, though, that a lot of this, you know, people going at each other, though, this is mostly, we're talking about Twitter, right? Like, the vast majority of players don't even know the bickering that goes on. A lot of them, they play their games, they enjoy them, and that's all there is to it. But it's the people that get involved in the social media side of things, whether it's like, there's definitely some of it a little bit on YouTube as well, right? Depending on who you watch and what type of content you consume. But I think a lot of this is looking on Twitter, right? Which I'm not going to say that Twitter doesn't matter, because it definitely does, but it's important to keep in mind the scope of things.
DayZ isn't the most popular out of all four of these gacha games, but it's doing pretty well. I also just believe that drama's sort of taken over content creation. There's been so much drama the past year that it's kind of hard to focus on the game itself. I grew tired of it, so I sort of stay away from drama. I don't really address drama unless it's about the game itself. Like when I did the Black Beacon videos, some of my most popular videos I've ever created, but that drama specifically was about Black Beacon, because Black Beacon's CN versus global drama was fucking huge, and it really did hurt the game. Now 1.2, their new update.
You know, everyone says, hi Foxy, you know, everyone says that they don't like drama, or I should say a lot of people say that. And I'm not saying that this is what Amethyst is saying. He's just saying that he prefers to stay away from it. I'm a person, I actually enjoy it. Like, I like finding out what's going on, and sometimes it's so stupid that I don't even think it's worth my time, but I think it's worth talking about the issues that are in the games, and you know, anything that's meaningful. If it's something small or just outright insane, like, oh, this person was gonna try to bomb you know, a studio or whatever over them missing a 50-50, you know, I don't care. It's just a crazy person. But you know, drama within the space is some of the most entertaining for me personally. That's some of the stuff I get invested in, whether it's content creator versus content creator versus community, or communities going at each other for whatever reason. I personally find it entertaining, and I think it's part of the reason I like the gacha space, to be honest. It adds a little bit of spice. It's very, a lot of people are children, but that's what, you know, in terms of their takes, they just act like kids, but I think that's what makes it funny. So
update has really made a lot of these improvements to Black Beacon, but I think the damage is done, and I think the game is going to die within the next few months. I don't want it to. I want that game to do very well, because it's one of the best built gacha games I've played. It's got one of the best stories in gacha gaming that I've ever fucking played. The writing of that is amazing. The character design is amazing. The animations are amazing. But the developers and the promotional teams let that game down, and they let the community down.
Yep.
I've digressed. I'm so sorry. I've
R.I.P.
digressed.
Black Beacon.
But I think one of the biggest reasons overall to why I believe that the gacha space feels divided is because there's no collabs.
And that game, by the way, is looking very similar to how they're handling it, or rather how it was handled. Kind of like, to my knowledge, the Persona game, Persona 5X. It sounds like, to my knowledge, that Global is getting treated like shit compared to CN. So I don't know if this is just another case of them not communicating properly with the global side of things, or if they really just, they don't care about global and they think people won't know. But I don't know why these devs keep thinking that they can just get away with this stuff, because people will find out. A lot of times people, when they do find out, are not going to be happy about it, and they're probably going to quit the game. And I would definitely quit the game. I wouldn't play a game where I was getting treated unfairly. Like, CN is always favored, but there comes a point where it's just really bad. Just blatant mistreatment of player base, and I think if you stand for that, you're part of the problem, to be honest.
There's no gacha cast.
Even the CN bros were mad for
People
Ian.
are trying,
Yeah.
like Captain Cabinets. They're trying to bring the gacha community together, but unfortunately, people have either outgrown gacha, stepped away from gacha, or just don't give a shit about it anymore. People are getting bored of gacha. People are getting sick of it. I'm starting to get bored of gacha. I love the gacha games I play, but I'm getting bored of them. And I think it's getting to a point now where if there's not drama about these gacha CCs or the gacha games, there's not really much else going on. Unless it's about a freshly new released patch.
And that's definitely true. That's what I was saying earlier before some of y'all joined. This next stint, it feels like until the next big WUWA patch comes out. Not trying to shoulder everything on WUWA, but ZZZ just came out with their 2.1. It's been pretty good to my experience that I've played. I haven't done all of the story yet, but I've heard great things. The events are good. Characters are fun. They've got some big reruns. But in the gacha space, I feel like HSR, the collab really fell flat. Even if 3.4 is good as a whole, we don't know how good the next patch is going to be. Genshin seems like they're, we're going to do the whole next region thing, or whenever these characters that they just showed off in this trailer come out. With Wuthering Waves, it kind of feels like everything's being shouldered on how good 2.6 is, because 2.5 is looking quite dry. So I think a lot of people are seeing what's going on right now, and they're just like, there's nothing to do. Like tonight, the new WUWA patch comes out. I think a lot of people are looking forward to the story. I'm going to give it a try tomorrow, probably. I won't be staying up all night to do the story, but after that, like, the new event doesn't look very fun, I'll be honest. And so it's like, what are we going to do for 6 weeks? And I think a lot of people are starting to step away, play some other games. I'm personally going to be playing some E33 this weekend because I haven't finished that game. I barely started it, and then I got caught up with trying to start content creation and stuff. And so I'm looking forward to going back to it. I see Brax has been playing it, and I know a lot of people say it's a great game. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing while we're kind of in a bit of a dry spell. But I think gacha games as a whole, they're all just resource simulators, and especially the big four, they all play so similarly that it's just like, which one do you prefer more, right? That's why Uma Musume, I think, has done really well, not just because of Forest Girls and all that, but for a gacha game, it's actually, you are still managing resources, but it's the way that you go about it is very different than, HSR, Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves. It's a very different type of gacha game for most people, right? So I think that's part of its success, is just because of how different it's been.
Wuthering Waves, whenever they release a new patch, people talk about the story because the story is literally peak, pure, amazing cinema, whatever they call it. But like, it's just dry. To me, gacha feels dry now. Aitoma has stepped out of gacha. Kazuhana is stepping out of gacha. I'm now stepping out of gacha and focusing more on shonen. I've now got a second channel that's thriving, and that's about Dragon Ball. Like, I'm doing my best to step away from gacha. Tectone is stepping away from gacha more and more, to the point where he's now covering a broader spectrum of content. I just think,
I feel like Tectone is just, outside of Uma Musume, which again is just it's just an anomaly in the space, I think, in a good way, But outside of that, I feel like bro's like, if I'm not getting sponsored, I'm probably not going to play it, or unless it's like brand new and it has some hype around it, I'm not going to play it. I think he logs into WUWA, but just for a day to do the new story, and that's fine. At the end of the day, it's however much he wants to enjoy it and then spend his time elsewhere, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I think bro does not care that much about gacha as a whole anymore.
that drama this year specifically has really divided the community. Not many collabs are happening. Not many people want to collab in these gacha communities anymore. And I think it's getting to a point now where people are doing their own thing. There's nothing wrong with people doing their own thing, but people saying that the gacha community feels divided and doesn't feel as interconnected as it used to.
Uma and Wizardry are like the
Take a
only
look
ones
at the
he'll
past
touch
year
off
to year and a
stream.
half of
Yeah.
gacha. It's been toxic. It's been divided. Not much has happened. Just take a good long look at what's been going on. Now, these are my thoughts and feelings. People can disagree with me in the comments. I'd love to actually, any other content creators within Gacha that do disagree with me, please talk to me. I'd love to have a debate with you about this topic because I think it is very interesting. And yeah, I do yap and I do ramble, but I've got a lot of thoughts and feelings that I want to get off my chest. Now, some of it may not make sense and I may go over a few things that I've already spoken about, but that's how I sort of explain myself and how I talk about my mind as best as I possibly can. But I love Gacha. I'm never going to stop loving Gacha, but you know, if people are asking why Gacha feels divided and why it doesn't feel as interconnected, either people are growing out of Gacha, drama's killed Gacha, friendships have been broken because of Gacha and because of rage baiting and because of just people being absolute donkeys, or people are trying to do their own thing now and don't really care too much about Gacha as they used to.
I don't think too many people have lost friends over Gacha. I think that's a little bit of a misconception. If he's talking about like Tectone Pokey, it was never really about the whole Castorus global passive thing. It was kind of like, you know, a battle of ideals and principles. And you can say, oh, well, you know, that being in my Gacha game and whatnot. Plus, there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well. But I don't know. I think drama, like I said, I personally enjoy it. I don't think it's ruined the space. I think if anything, it actually brings a lot of attention to whatever's going on at the time. As for Tectone, you know, carrying the space, he definitely did. But I think it's kind of nice that he's gotten away from it as much, and it kind of allows new people to rise up a little bit more and to see, you know, how much can the space maintain without him. Even if you don't like the guy, he brought a ton of attention to the space, for better or for worse. Like I said, for you, it just depends probably on what game you play, what game he was shit talking at the time or talking positively about. But I don't think it's good that if we're going to say, oh, well, Tectone's gone, now the whole Gacha space falls apart, which I don't necessarily think that that's what Abrams was trying to say. But yeah, I don't think he or anyone in, for that factor, trying to hold it together is a good thing. I think the space to be successful and to grow needs to have a lot of different varying creators. It's fine to have like one really popular one or a couple, but yeah, I'm curious to see how the space goes now, with so many people kind of either stepping away or taking breaks right now, with things being pretty dry, as we've said. But yeah, I think only time will tell. But I think Gacha will be fine in the long run. It's just a bit of a dry spell right now.
You know, like I said, there's amazing content creators in this space that I look up to and that I love and that I adore and that I want to, you know, interact with more. But, you know, it is what it is. Gacha tribalism's a thing now. It's become toxic. The big Gacha CCs that used to do Gacha casts and interact with the community as a whole are too busy doing their own thing now and growing their brand, doing their own thing now. That's not saying they will never touch Gacha again, because people like Tectone do still come back to Gacha and do talk about Gacha and does still touch on these things. And I have seen him still do Gacha casts from time to time, just nowhere near as much as he used to. Captain Cabinets, as I said earlier in the video, she has done many podcasts this year that has brought other content creators together. Captain Cabinets, if anything, has done a lot for the community. She's going to do well in this space. You know? I don't really have anything else to say. I just wanted to talk about my pure...
Captain Cabinets has done a lot. And it's very deserved. She's been great for the space. Like I said, I think that's why I started watching her a lot. Once, you know, I was introduced to her content and whatnot, found her channel, and yeah, her content is, you know, my brand. She's got pretty based opinions. I would say about, you know, 95% of the time there might be a few things I disagree with on her, you know, here and there, but that's normal for everybody, right? But yeah, I agree with most of her takes. I think she's very fair. She, you know, she's known as a drama farmer, but she doesn't really do that much of that at all. So I think that's pretty funny as well. But you know, she's been a great person for the space, I think, as a whole, and been a cool person to chat with as well. So yeah, big shout outs to Captain Cabinets.
Feelings about this. If anyone disagrees with me, let me know down below in the comments. But I believe the main reasons to why Gacha is dying and Gacha feels divided and Gacha feels disconnected and not as interconnected: Gacha tribalism, drama within the Gacha space. The big Gacha creators aren't making things happen within the Gacha space as much as they used to, because they're doing their own things, which is completely fine. And I just think people are tired and bored of Gacha, because Gacha is becoming a little bit drier, a little bit stale. There's other Gacha games coming out later this year. You've got Arknights, Enfield, you've got Silver Palace, you've got other Gacha, you know, NTE, Ananta. All these other Gacha games are coming out.
I'm not gonna lie, I think NT is probably gonna be dead on arrival. That game did not look good in the last beta. We'll see how things turn out, but I think we all saw the Ethan clip, right? Yeah, so hopefully they can improve some things, but that UI looked really bad. Silver Palace looks amazing in the trailer that we saw, but I don't think there's any way they can run that game on phones that they showed. And how are they going to do patches that look as good as what they showed? That's quite a tall order. So we'll have to wait and see. Like Silver Palace, I feel like is the one people are pointing to right now, but that's still a ways off, and that's going to take a while. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. Yeah, Reptar is the inside man. So yeah, if you have any questions, just go harass Reptar here.
Which could bring about a new age of Gacha content creators. But I just think at the moment, it's going to be a little bit dry. It'll heal itself. The Gacha space will heal, and it'll come back together again. It's just going to take some time, and people need to be patient. And if you're asking the questions, why does the Gacha space feel divided? Just look at the backlog of Gacha over the past year to year and a half. Look at the Gacha space, look at the Gacha CCs, look at everything that's been going on, the drama, you know? But anyway, hopefully this video has helped put into perspective why Gacha is not as interconnected and divided. I know I'm not the best at explaining things. I stutter. I can go over a few of my points I've already made, but that's because it's how I explain things best. People don't like it. People don't have to like it.
I'm the same way.
Like it.
Struggling as I get accustomed to the space. He did a great job. I think this was a great video. That's why, even though I watched a good bit of this, I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, please give Abrams a like and a sub on this video. Let me see if I can get the link for you guys here. Yeah, go watch that video, give it a like, give him a sub if you haven't already. Big shout outs to Amethyst. Great video, great topic. I think it's something that was on a lot of people's minds. And yeah, while I may not agree with all of his, opinions here, I do agree with most of them. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video as well if it makes it to YouTube. So catch y'all later.